There is a passionate human story behind this, one involving hundreds of smallholder farmers across the world. But here is a real-life example demonstrating the complexity of circumstances. Staple commodities such as maize is handled after harvest. There have been numerous attempts by donors, governments and technical assistance agencies over the years to reduce post-harvest losses in developing countries. Unfortunately, there are few success stories in this regard.
The people have been having their traditional ways of processing their grain, and which to them they must have believed it was the best way of doing it. But now we have come up to say, hey guys, if we want to get into the market, we need to do things differently.
Grain farmers in Kamuli, Bugiri, Iganga and Tororo are working to a new dawn through the Methodist Church-founded Office of Relief and Development Support, ORDS, commissioned under Purchase for Progress P4P, an initiative of the World Food Programme.
We're looking at both the spiritual, economical and social development of the person. How can we be effective as a church besides the gospel that we preach to the people? How can we ensure that they are also developing economically, socially, and other ways?
I was requested to be volunteer as their director for their program on the livelihood, specifically focusing on the maize value chain, because we seemed to have good ideas. I was at that time also promoting the livelihood in the animal sector under the High Heights platform. So for the maize program, I accepted to serve them at the level of director and help them actualize their vision of working with society. That's when we undertake the basic studies that we needed to bring the knowledge that is available, research outputs, before we came up with the concept. And to look at the existing data for the Busoga sub-region where they were working and where they still work, to use that data and to see the existing gaps in the maize value chain holistically from the garden up to the market.
In Busoga region, the ancestral home of the legendary River Nile, we meet Lydia Kagoda in Kamuli district. The chairperson of the Twekembe Multipurpose Farmers Group is a typical rural farmer who previously practiced a rudimentary style of handling grain, but now is a shining example. Today, farmers are gathered at her home for a field school training.
Okungula no sisibule kiduma okisula empeke davako edo kituditwala kisera kudironda wamutolayo olikuletera mukiibo waleta wakagafuka wansi enkoko dalya buli kintu ekyenda kyali boya ayuyike kitutwala kisera kolaki kumuyola.
So we are very satisfied with the work that ORDS is doing. By the time we got into partnership with them, they had vast knowledge in community development interventions, and that is a strength that has helped us to reach a wider membership in terms of passing on skills, knowledge and skills to the farmer communities.
We have 60 farmers groups and each group has 50 members. And in all these, we have 100 field farmer schools. These are the groups we work with in our formative action approach. Because what we want to do is to support these groups with knowledge right from the garden, right from the time when they are preparing to plant their grain to the time of harvesting and marketing.
So, previously, they could not shell their maize cobs soon after harvest because of pressing tasks like land preparation for the next harvest. When there was time, they shelled their maize by beating the cobs with sticks. a tedious and wasteful process resulting in plenty of broken grain.
ORDS wedi etwegeisa engeri gye tufiirwamu duuma okuva mu nnimiro ku kiro ekikumi tufiirwa ku kiro nga 2.
They then lacked time to sort out the grain, thus ending up with poor grain which fetched lower prices.
There is a way Busoga maize was graded. Even now, when you look at the institutions that monitor the quality of grain and the grain markets, Busoga grain is rated poorest because of the discoloration. With the inception of P4P, a trend is emerging where some of our supported farmer organizations have become the source for diluting the poor quality of the maize in Busoga.
And these are the catalytic actions that we say we put in society. Already as a spillover, even before spending 5 years on the activity, we realized that some people around the same product and participating in the value chain recognize that if they have this good maize, it works as an incentive to mix with theirs to access the good market. And the message is very clear at community level. And we feel if we continue with this and we are operating with 100 field farm schools where our members are getting it right, this will serve as a catalyst for everybody else.
Reduction in quality confines grain to lower value markets which are usually informal, so that farmers lose the opportunity of better incomes. For a region like Busoga, producing over 30% of total grain in the country, smallholder farmers under the P4P arrangement are in for good times.
ORDS have helped us in capacity building.
For instance, Buyende Grain Marketing Center, 30 kilometers from the highway in Bugiri district, is home to about 1,000 farmers.
Tulini ba partners abali kutuyambako. For example, tulini World Food Program, nibeja partner ngeri kolagana ni ORDS Jinja, bali kutusomesa ku mutindo n'okulima okufuna mwe kingi nga tulikosa methodology ya farmer field school. Kye tulikwetaaga right now tubaye tutundanga duma ngempeke. Tulikwenda tu miringa kaunga tutuve mu mpeke kuba Afrika.
They understand the concept of post-harvest handling. It involves improving the application of existing approaches to post-harvest handling, like ensuring basic hygiene. Every grain season is a busy period for this manager. Here, you find the best practices like this, and then the grain is stored here.
Tupima, tuva n'okupima, wabaka ali kukala twamwanika ku luya luliwo, tumala okwanika twatwala okuba processed okutandika okumukungunta omu cleaninga tunisi grain cleaner batumaze cleaninga twapima kabiri tumala okupima twatandika kabiri okustackinga twata mu stack daife nga tuli kupima mu 101 kg twastoringa mu store twanonya katale.
Farmers here are no strangers to new marketing arrangements such as collective marketing. The latter include inventory credit or warehouse receipt systems that can give access to the credit needed to enable farmers to adopt better practices and technology.
From the time we started mobilizing farmers under P4P to collectively market their grain, some of them today still have some misgivings because of the experiences they had in the past under the Busoga Cooperative Union, where they could aggregate cotton, they could aggregate coffee, but somehow maybe they would never get paid.
And we are very keen on listening to what government wants the community to take as a direction, and also sensitive that we need our farmer to improve the household income.
It is this that has given birth to Mamba Multipurpose Group, a village savings and lending association. The scheme is having dramatic results. A savings culture is being built in this remote area, with farmers gaining the confidence to set money aside for the first time to save and make plans for their future.
With the savings, we start from 2,000 to 10,000.
In Tororo is another eye-opener. For smallholder farmers here, the process leads to adoption of better technology and requires preconditions such as a market that offers sufficient reward for better quality grain, transport infrastructure giving reliable linkage to a market, and the knowledge and skills to produce good quality grain in a commercial context.
So there is a response from the producers towards the market which is looking out for quality grain.
Here in Busia is the hub of quality-conscious maize trade, where business takes shape, feeding in the national and regional markets. However, the recent global market dynamics have shown a harsh light of global supply chains and has showed how the expansive webs of grain producers, suppliers and retailers have spiraled out of control with post-harvest handling transparency. Is this the result of a fair and equitable trade system?
Our desire is to have farmers that we are working with transit from being purely subsistence farmers to another level, to, I would say, commercial. They should take on commercial farming from the subsistence where we started working with them. And we would also like to see the farmers go beyond just basically marketing of grain, but to adding value.
We are able to link our farmers to good market, but good market at Busia, Malaba border, and the maize goes out. Then what we have observed is that these very communities also need very high quality posho. And we have observed the trend of communities importing high quality posho. And for people who venture into poultry, commercial poultry farming, commercial pig farming, we have observed that they are buying commercial feeds. And these commercial feeds are sometimes made from the maize they exported. And the price at which they are buying them is so high.
In essence, correct grain handling farmers can have a powerful impact on tipping the scales while appreciating the role business can play in empowering smallholder farmers and creating fairer and more sustainable futures for them. In many cases, smallholder farmers lack the tools, training and investment needed to move much beyond subsistence levels. So ORDS is campaigning on the need for more resources targeted at smallholder farmers, particularly women, and championing the role of cooperatives in supporting farmers to pool resources, manage risks, secure fairer prices and access markets.
And we think if more partnerships come on our platform, we can even do better and scale up our interventions to target the people whom we have not reached.
The Purchase for Progress Initiative, P4P, is a component of the Agriculture and Market Support Program, AMS. AMS is one of the key pillars of the WFP Uganda country strategy, which manifests the change of WFP from a food aid agency to a food assistance agency. Currently in its second year, the P4P initiative, as a pilot, utilizes 4 approaches: supporting emerging structured trading systems, including commodity exchange and warehouse receipt systems, using different procurement modalities to buy grain from farmers who are receiving supply-side support on productivity enhancement and marketing, buying from smallholder and medium traders to enhance competitiveness and provide alternative market for farmers' surpluses, and developing local food processing capacities by connecting FOs to established food processors and buying processed foods, including CSB fortified maize meal. Support to emerging trading systems is a major approach in the pilot and is hinged on using WFP procurement footprint in Uganda to support structured trading systems such as commodity exchange and the warehouse receipt system, WRS, so as to increase partner and government investment in the grain market.
We need to consolidate that in the next 1 or 2 years as a group, and also consolidate the partnership of the social mentor, the social entrepreneur mentor to our farming communities.
It is anticipated that WFP engagement in commodity exchange and warehouse receipt system will achieve the following: attract more buyers and sellers, build confidence in the system, and contribute to the increased turnover of trade in grain within Uganda and the region. This approach, in combination with other 3 approaches, would as a result create a spillover effect of increased income among smallholder farmers, as well as ensuring sustainability of the trading system.
The government pronouncements of value addition at community level needed to be brought to reality. And for us as ORDS and our partner as High Heights Services in social entrepreneur and the private sector, we have this envisioning that in the next 10 years, we need some centers of excellence in value addition for the grain value chain.